Hi everyone, this is Diane. I've had a very busy day and I'll talk about that a little bit while I do some work here. I wanted to do some work on the 40s journals. So I'm just going to spend enough time to make this video and then I'll have to be off doing other things. So what I want to do is just show you the papers that I cut, and then I'm going to show you what I'm doing with these that I glued together. Sorry. I did cut some scrapbook papers. I tried to find some prints that would go with a 40s look. And I have some of these beautiful cut glass images from a book. And I love that they were landscape. So there'll be one of those in each signature. And I did some colored grid paper, some dyed grid paper. These are going to be a little smaller. This is a large book. And even these pages are small. I have some tea-dyed paper and some pale green music manuscript paper and some shelf liner. So this might have been from the 40s. I'm not sure. Don't know the year, but I do have several different designs of this, and I chose some that I thought would go with the fashion or ladies book. And I have some other ones that I can use for the food themed book. So then I took my scrapbook paper that I had selected, and I wanted 6 pages of it, but I took 12 and I cut them down to the height that I needed, which was 9 3/4 for this book, and then I just glued them together. Normally, I will, because I only need 1 more inch on these pages to make it wide enough for this book cover. Because I want some gap there. So that's about the size I want. And I didn't want just a 1 inch strip of paper there. So I just sewed them together, or glued them. I didn't sew them, I just glued them together. Just barely overlapped the edge by about maybe 1/2 inch. So I can just fold them where I want to and then trim them. Once they're folded, I'll trim them to 6.5 inches because I need 13 inches, but I need it to be 6.5 for the book. This one is the only double-sided one, so I want to keep as much of this as I can. So I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna leave much of this paper on it. Looks like that. And I'll just put it on here and move it out to 6.5. And it looks like I'm gonna, yeah, right, 6.5. Just gonna cut off a little bit of this paper. So we're probably gonna end up with just over 1 inch. Oh, it's a little more than that. So we do have a little bit there, but I thought maybe I would want to have a variety of widths so they're not all the same, you know, because that's what I usually do. So I also like this paper, and I don't want to lose a whole lot of that, but I'm going to pull this out here so I have more of the other kind of paper on it, because I can add this in as elements if I want to. I hope I'm making sense to you. So when I cut this, there will be a wider piece of the contrasting so that there's more variety. And of course I will save these and use them. I already had done these 2 pages. And they're pretty close to the same. So let's do this one where we get more of this piece also. No, this way. I love that this looks like it has a piece of Scotch tape on it. that much got cut off. That's all I wanted to do with the pages. I just wanted to show you how I was doing that, making them wide enough to go into the book. And I can, if I want to, go and stitch just for the decorative look. So that means I have two, because there's two of these in each signature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm missing one somewhere, or else I have to make another. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages for each signature, so I'll probably add a couple more pages to each signature. And I don't know what they will be yet. But I thought that I would just go ahead and start decorating my covers. So I had decided to go with this lady from a 1940s magazine. This is the journal that will feature ladies and fashion and miscellaneous. It's not just fashion themed, but it's not the cooking one. Just going to trim off the excess fabric from the edge of the book cover. And I debuted a lot of different pattern papers, and what I ended up with was this, because I thought this is fun. It makes it fun and not boring, and I think she looks really good on it. And then I would add this to it. So we're going to Mod Podge it, and then I'm going to put this on the back cover. I have matte Mod Podge here. I should have opened this. Oh, good, because sometimes I have to take it out to the kitchen and run hot water on it. If I'm going to do a video with Mod Podge, I should make sure I get it open before I turn the camera on. And I've tried putting wax paper in there, so I do know that trick. It doesn't always work for me. I clean it off and put wax paper on it. I know the tricks. They don't always work. This is a nice fabric cover, but it's too dull for what I want, so we're covering it. You'll be able to see a very thin edge all around this paper, because I didn't want to have to wrap the paper around. Gonna roll it and try not to get my roller in the wet Mod Podge. press bubbles out, make sure the edges are pressed down. And then of course I have to cover up my fingerprints. So there is some warping of the paper, which I expect. And I will add my lady. So what I've been doing today, my video that went up on my channel today was showing the huge lot of paper dolls that I had gotten at the flea market on Memorial Day. And I knew it would take me forever to list them because there were so many. And I know that some of them won't sell, so I didn't want to just waste my time listing things that weren't going to sell. So when I showed the video, I said I would like you to message me on Etsy, on my Etsy shop, if there's paper dolls that you want. And I was just stunned at how many messages I was getting all day today. And it's awesome. That's what I wanted, but I wasn't expecting it. I just didn't think that many of these paper dolls would sell. I thought some of them would. I thought a lot of them would, but not as many as did. And the rest of them still may sell. It's still only not quite 3:30. And I figured I will list ones that people didn't just request. So other, if somebody didn't see my video, they'll be in my shop and they can see what's available. So eventually I will put the rest in my shop. So I wanted to be in here today. That was my plan. And I started cutting papers, as you saw, and I glued some together. And then I was just really busy answering messages that people were leaving and trying to keep up with marking, writing, going on to my video description and listing the journals or the books that were gone, paper doll books that were already claimed, so people would know not to ask for them. I gave up. There's a long list on there, but there's more that I need to add to it, and I've got other things to do. So it's awesome. I am so glad. I am so grateful for my customers who tune in to my videos and respond quickly to things I put in my shop. It was better than I expected, and I'm grateful. And just so you know, I do have more paper dolls, but I'm not going to do it this way. These are paper dolls that I want to list in my shop individually. They are vintage paper dolls, and so are these, but they're the ones that I did today. They're maybe 80s and 90s, and probably some newer. But the other ones that I got yesterday are from the 40s, and some some a little newer, but probably most of them are at least from the 70s, but most of them are 40s. Some of them are movie stars. So I haven't shown them to you yet. I'm going to wait a little bit because I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed right now with paper dolls. So they are coming, I just want you to know. Plus I had done a smaller paper doll haul a couple days before Memorial Day. And those I haven't put in my shop yet. So I'll have to do that also. And I did do a video on them before Memorial Day. All right, now, I want to put the word journal on that. Let's do that before I close up my Mod Podge. And then I'm going to work on the other cover while this dries. Got to be careful when you put the Mod Podge on top for something little like this, because it's sitting on Mod Podge and you could make it slip and knock it crooked and not know it. I'm going to pay attention to it and see if it still looks straight. Just a smidge. Okay. And I might add something else to this, I'm not sure. But we'll figure that out after it dries. I think that's a fun journal cover. Pour a little bit back in here. I don't think I'll be Mod Podging anything to the other cover because that one already has a decoration on it. But I will add things like maybe yo-yos and milk bottle caps, because that one is the more homespun food and cooking theme, but it's still 1940s. And now that's empty. This is the cover for the other one, and I got out some fabric to see what I might want to use for the spine. First I had this one. No, that's for the other one. That's for the one we just Mod Podged, but I'm going to look more. I might find something better. I looked at some reds. I like all of these reds. So I'm not sure. I'm going to put the book together first. So that book is too tall for that way, so I'm going to have to go that way. And I don't really know if I cut it. I'm going to cut it 2 inches because that's what I normally do, and I'm just going to have to keep my embellishments and, low enough that 2 inches is good without making a gator mouth. If I partially cut it with the paper cutter, it at least gets it straight. Now, I'm just standing it up against the back of the book so I can mark it and know how tall to cut it. Didn't have that light on. Probably leave these because this book is from the 40s, so those are authentic 40s pictures, and look how clean and bright this end paper is. It is loose right here, so I'm going to glue that. get some Tyvek. Sorry, I just got a clump of glue off the end of this. Had to get it off my fingers. I had received this in the mail. If I could cut that up, but I just want to make sure that the fabric I'm going to put over it isn't see-through when I use that. So I don't know what fabric I'm using yet. So I'm just going to use this that came from Amazon. They're sheets. I don't know if they're 8.5 by 11, but there's something like that. Okay, it's Tyvek. Did I say that? Tyvek. It doesn't tear, so it makes a good reinforcement for spines. So I want to cut this wide enough to cover the spine and then go onto each cover. And the covers will be spaced away from the spine just slightly. And the Tyvek won't show, so if it is cut a little crooked, it's okay. Oops. Now to put it all together, you've probably seen me do this many times, but just in case you haven't, I have this red tape. It's clear when you take the red backing off, but it is sold by all of the big box craft stores, and you can find it on Amazon. I buy the 1/4 inch. Comes in 1/8 inch and 1/2 inch also. Might even come bigger. I use the 1/4 inch, and I'll just put a strip of it on both edges, the inside edge of both covers, and all around the spine piece. Maybe I don't have to put it on the ends, but I always do. Sometimes the spool of tape looks like this. It has a bigger opening. It just depends on the brand, but they all work the same. This is from Hobby Lobby, a papery shop, but Joann's has their own brand, and I think Michael's has its own brand. And then Amazon has one. Okay, just make sure it's pressed down really well so that when you lift the backing, the tape stays put. Especially on a cardboard. This is a pretty good cardboard, but if you had one that has loose layers, like pulpy layers that want to lift up, you could just pull that right up with the tape instead of just pulling up the backing. Like on an old book board, if I was putting it on a raw book board that was old. That happens a lot with the old books. Sometimes I have to glue the tape back down. You could probably just use this. I think a lot of people do, but this is how I've always done it, and that's how I feel comfortable doing it. I feel secure. I feel like the book is secure. and I feel confident in it. It takes a little time, but I guess so I can do it pretty quickly. Now I'm going to move this up so that I have access to my grid, because I need to see my grid. I'm going to line my book covers up along the bottom of the grid and the side. The bottom and the side are both lined up straight with a line on my mat. And then I just use this to guide me in lining up the other pieces. I can use the bottom, and then I just use this side of the book and just put a tiny space in between. I had heard that you would want to place your chipboard and make the space that big, but when I do that it's too much of a space, probably because these are thick book covers. Maybe if I was just using plain chipboard it would work, but the covers are too loose, like jiggly. Okay, well, I gotta show you something here. First of all, I nudged my things out of place. And as I was talking about the book board pulling loose, this is old book paper that came loose. So I'm going to glue that piece down, as I think my finger stuck to it, and when I lifted it up, it pulled the tape up along with the paper, so now it won't stick. So I'm just going to put some glue there. Okay, I've got these lined up again. So I'll just line this piece up. I already have my Tyvek cut before I lay tape on these, because I've made the mistake of not doing that, and then I have to be careful not to, while I'm measuring where I want the Tyvek, I have to be careful not to touch it to the tape. So you have to be careful while you're arranging your pieces, because if you get your finger on the tape while you're moving them and then you move your hand away, you're pulling the pieces and you have to start all over. Alright, so now all I have to do is carefully lay this down without making pieces move. And I was crooked, so that is a little more Tyvek than I need right there. And in case I want my fabric, I don't want my fabric to go over this far, I'm going to trim that so I don't have to put my fabric over this far. I might want more of this picture to show, because I'm going to cover the spine with fabric inside and out. So that's what will cover the chipboard and the Tyvek. So we have chipboard, Tyvek, and then fabric to make this cover nice and sturdy and secure. So Tyvek hanging off there, which would be covered by the fabric, but just want to reduce any bulk. Now we get to choose the fabric. I think that's the fun part. This is vintage feed sack fabric, which I think would be awesome if I like that. I really do like that. It's not long enough to go all the way around, so I'd have to cover it on the inside with something else. But I think I want to use that. I really like it. So what I do to cut my fabric is lay it on the inside, just to make sure it's going to cover the Tyvek. This is not going to be on the inside, but whatever I put on the inside is going to be the same width as this. So it has to be wide enough to cover this Tyvek. I'm going to trim this because it's got some frayed bits that are... I'm going to go over here and see if I can tear it, because this is very frayed. So I'm just going to cut a wider piece off and tear. If you try to tear a narrow piece, it kind of makes a mess. It is still frayed, which is fine, but it was, the bottom part had a deeper fray than the top part, so I just wanted to make it more even looking. And it might get covered up anyway with rickrack or something. I probably just stuck my elbow right in the camera. Okay, there's that. And I just need enough to wrap around the top and the bottom. So what I do is I lay the cover down on my fabric piece, try to make it the same width on the back as it is on the front. I just eyeball it, and then I glue just one of the ends. Then I glue the spine without gluing the end. That will fold over. I hope we have time to play with some yo-yos and milk bottle caps. Don't bend the cover until the glue is dry. Too much glue on my fingers and the strings are sticking to my fingers. Okay, now I can select a fabric to put on the inside. Maybe this would be fun for that. I don't want to put too much glue on it because this is a see-through fabric. It's very thin and you can see through the white part, which is mostly white, and you might see globs of glue. And the stitches, sewing the signatures in, will go through this to hold it secure. So you don't need a ton of glue in the middle, but I put some in there. Need to really clean that nozzle off. going to grab my rickrack. I'm not going to glue this down yet, at least on the inside. Just cutting it. Making a mess with the glue. I'd have to put a yo-yo right there. There's blue flowers and blue stripes on this, so I think we'll use blue rickrack on the outside. I'm just going to lay these on here right now so we can arrange yo-yos and things. See how it looks. This glue, oh dear, this glue dries quickly, so I might be able to bend the cover now, but I'm not gonna right now. Looking for my last wet wipe that I just used and threw away. So I can wipe this nozzle off. Well, I'll just use this. Okay, here are my yo-yos. I've got the vintage ones. I've got newer ones, but these are really old ones. And since it's a 1940s book, I want to use the old ones. I'm going to use something that will pop off of the cover. Might want to use one of the off-white ones. I tend to skip over them because they're not as fun, but I could, I suppose, dye them. Let's try this one. And just in case we want 3, and I've got my milk bottle caps here. Maybe I'll just put that on the cream colored one. Yep, I think that's what we'll do. If I have time this evening, maybe I can go into today's video in the description and just change it to from things that are sold to things that are left as far as paper dolls. These are the ones that are left, because at this point there's more sold than there is left, and that's a good thing. And that'll be just what's shown in that video. There's another video from a couple days. No, yeah, it's stuff that's not listed, but I showed a haul either the day before Memorial Day or the day after, or I mean 2 days before, and it has a few paper dolls. So I suppose, since we're going this far, if you see something in that video you want, you can let me know. I don't normally do that. I want to list, oh dear, just drop some glue down on that. Because it gets overwhelming and confusing, and it's time consuming for me to take time out of what I am wanting to do so that I can get things listed for people as they ask. And I would rather just wait till I'm ready to get things listed. But in this circumstance, I have so many paper dolls that it's easier for you to just watch it and tell me what you want. I still have to list things for each individual person, but I don't have to do all the descriptions, and I'm listing things in groups because you're ordering them in groups. Well, I think that looks really pretty. Now let's add our yo-yos. So I put it overlapping this part, but not so that it goes onto the spine. I don't want it to have to bend. Actually, I think that first video was aired on Memorial Day. I purchased them a couple days before I made the video, but it aired on Memorial Day. So that's the one that right now I think all the paper dolls are available, except Kitty Cucumber. So what I do is people ask me for them, and then when I get the chance, I don't wait too long because I want to just move things out. So I, gather up the things that the person wants, put them in their envelope or whatever, and weigh it, and then I make a listing reserved for so-and-so, and let them know that the listing is ready and they can make a purchase whenever they want. So the things are not sold, they're just claimed. So if I make a listing and let the person know and they don't respond and they don't purchase it, I'm not going to wait too long before I just make it available to whoever gets it first. I might wait 2 or 3 days, but I don't want to wait a week. Okay. So that's going to be a really fun 1940s journal, don't you think? I'll just have to add the rickrack in here. And this journal is done. I don't think I will add pockets to the insides because I want to keep the covers just the way they are. And then we did this one. This one I will put scrapbook paper on the inside. It looks nice. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a creative day today. Bye-bye.